Hello there and welcome to Kazi Namali. Today is all matters entrepreneurship. You know, entrepreneurs are regarded as the prime movers of economic development. People translate ideas into actions. But again, is that the case out there, or should I say, is it how things are on the ground? Now, in the next 20-25 minutes, we're going to look at the opportunities and the strategies that are there for entrepreneurs to sail through. But again, I have to ask this question: are there enough opportunities? Are there enough policies to make entrepreneurs sail? But again, we want to look at the do's and don'ts. We want to look at the have and have nots. We want to look at the myths and misconceptions, the truths and half-truths as far as entrepreneurs is concerned. And to help us, giving us a hand today in studio, I'm glad to welcome Mr. Simon Kamori.
Thank you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The CEO of SMEP Microfinance Bank, and he's here to help us break down these truths and half-truths and what you need to do and not to do to become a successful entrepreneur, especially in the 21st century. Welcome to studio. Glad to have you, sir.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for welcoming me here.
Yeah, my name is Vincent Kirosi, and we're going to begin with this question here. Remember that you can write us on our Facebook page, CACTV Kenya, and our Twitter handle is CACTV_Kenya. Let's begin here, sir. People say that as far as you have capital, you're good to go. Is it a misconception? Is it a myth as far as entrepreneurship is concerned?
Capital is not what drives entrepreneurs. What drives entrepreneurs is passion and the desire to fulfill a need. Because many people in Kenya have a lot of capital, money, but they don't know what to do.
Sure.
But we have people who are making big things and they have no money at all. In fact, they start something, and along the way is when they start filling the gaps of capital. And I also want to put it in a different way. There are many people who are willing to invest in entrepreneurs who are doing something. Basically, if an entrepreneur or an individual has started on a business and they are progressing well, they'll find either angel investors or people like ourselves who are in commercial lending who are willing to lend them money, as long as they are convinced there is a venture, meaningful venture that is progressing on. So capital doesn't come first. First is that passion to fulfill a need in the society or in the space, and to transform that idea into real action in the marketplace.
Yeah, talked about the, capital being not the first thing, but again, what should be the mindset of an entrepreneur? What comes first? As you said, is passion? Is it money? Is it success?
It is passion. Passion is what will drive. And I want, an entrepreneur will see a business opportunity. We come across a home. COVID came.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, entrepreneurs saw a business opportunity. The people with an entrepreneurial mind, because they saw there is need for these sanitizers and masks, the ones we are wearing. Yeah. And also others realized that now, in terms of sales, people will not be going to the open market, and they realize we can actually deliver groceries and others at homesteads. You see, that's an opportunity that has risen, and that opportunity that has risen has created an issue, a challenge that needs to be resolved. A problem that needs to be resolved.
Sure.
So the entrepreneurs realize that in solving that problem or challenge, they'll be making their money. Yeah. So there was that passion first to meet a need that is existing. All right? Yeah. Then, one second, there are many who have money, who saw the opportunity, but they didn't have the passion and the gut to jump in.
Yeah.
So passion first.
People again will say that passion does not necessarily pay. And maybe it takes a long time for that to come into fruition, That's a challenge that people face.
Okay, passion has to be nurtured. It will be tested with time. It requires resilience. The misconception is that you can make money outrightly in business. But business is really requires hard work. Entrepreneurs do a lot of hard work. They need to put many things in place so that finally they can get money. They will invest a lot of time, their energy, in terms of networking, in terms of even researching what they are doing, in terms of refining. Because you have passion. Let's say somebody who has a passion for baking, okay? But you are good in baking, you're always doing it in home, but you need to fine-tune that passion so that then you convert it in terms of fulfilling a need somewhere.
Sure.
So that you transform that passion you have into the delivery system of meeting a need. Because you have to find a way of meeting a customer need somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know, people will say that this might not be the right time for me to begin. They procrastinate or they do that. Do you think there is always a right time to begin as an entrepreneur? The right time to take a step?
There is no right time. That's my conviction. Every time is a time to start. Because you cannot do business until you start. So the rest will be an idea, and unless you put an idea into action, then you're not in business. Well, there are many considerations. When you want to start, be ready to sacrifice yourself, because unless you invest your time, your thoughts, your energy in terms of building networks, the relationships that are required, and supporting and being there when you need to be there, then your business will not grow. Right? Yeah. So if you realize you don't have time to build on your business, to give it the best, then don't start. It will be a frustration. It's like opening a duka. Let's say use a kiosk. You have already opened, you have incurred costs, you have stocked, but you don't have the energy all the time to be opening when it needs to be opened. Now kiosks, the ones in the estates, make their sales early in the morning, allowed lunch hour, and late in the evening. That's it. Yeah. Early in the morning when people are rushing to buy a loaf of bread or even half, 2 eggs, they have remembered they don't have sugar, so they will run. If you have not opened between 5:30 and all the way up to 9, or you're not able to open, don't start that business. Allowed lunch hour is when they remember they don't have salt. They don't have 1 tomato. That's when they will come rushing because they want to prepare lunch. In the evening, they will remember we don't have milk. We needed a packet, and possibly it's just 1 kilogram of unga, portion meal. So if you're not able to sacrifice yourself to open that kiosk in the evening and push a bit to 9:30, now we are up to 9 because of the restrictions of movement. Don't go that way. Think of something else, because business requires your not just passion, but you need to sacrifice. You need to be fair, physically, or get somebody who can be able to run for you. So that's why we're saying it is not just opening. You must be ready to sacrifice your time, your energy, and your everything to ensure you do something successful.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how big or small can one begin, you know? Because we talked about capital. It might not be the main issue, but again, you have to begin, and you need something to begin with. How big or how small can one begin who just want to set out on his route as an entrepreneur?
You can start from anywhere, and I want to give examples. The sales or the big entities in town are not driven by them. They are driven by individuals who go, present themselves to them, and tell them, hey, I can sell this one on my behalf. I don't know whether you have realized, if it rains in Nairobi, let me use an example in Nairobi. If it just rains, showers just came in an afternoon, all of a sudden, people the entire town is flooded by people who are selling umbrellas. People who are selling umbrellas. So the question is, where did they get the money to buy an umbrella within a span of seconds to go and hook them in the street?
A big question.
It's a big question. And that's why I'm saying you can start your business anywhere, and actually you may not necessarily need money. The person who is selling the umbrellas in the streets actually is not the owner of the umbrellas. They went somewhere, developed a relationship, maybe left their national ID, give references that are credible, that can be trusted, and they are given 50 umbrellas, and they are told, you sell them. If you sell them, 10% commission is yours. Right? So you can start big time, you can start small, but I would want to say start where you are. If you wait to accumulate money to start business, you may never start. Think through what you want to offer, the product or the service. And once you know what you want to offer, then that one will drive you to determine the kind of funds that you need, or can you do it even through partnerships. The easiest for starters now is to do through partnerships. You cannot be an agent or sub-agent and try to establish a footing. Another example I want to give is early this morning, I had a business meeting with somebody who is doing electricals, big time. They have a shop and a warehouse where they store those gadgets. But they are supporting many people in the marketplace, either contractors or subcontractors, or people who are doing sales on their behalf, such that if you get an order for the electricals, you rush there, you'll be given your gadgets even on credit. You go install, you're paid, and you come and you clear your debt. So the issue is you need to make a decision to start, and once you start, establish the right relationships, because business is about relationships. It's about people.
Very important to really know how to relate with people, people that can connect you, people that can give you finance assistance, and also connect you to the right clients or customers that you need for you to push on. But again, let's not run away from the truth. The big challenge for startups and entrepreneurs right now is access to finance, access to credits. I mean, we know that Kenya, they call it a quote-unquote harsh environment for accessing finance and credit. You come from a financial institution, an entity that deals with microfinance. How true, or actually let me rephrase it. How easy is it for one to really access credit or finance, so to speak, nowadays in the 21st century and the Kenyan environment, so to speak?
It is easier now. Let me say it is easier now. But because we are talking about starting and entrepreneurial people who want to grow up, there are various sources of finance. So we'll go there, and then I come back to commercial lending where we are. The simplest way to accumulate a bit of money for purposes of business, especially somebody who is going to do startups, is from personal savings. Either you are employed or there is something that can assist you to accumulate some of your personal saving. That is the cheapest and the easiest, because it has no other obligations in the marketplace. Right, so if you're in employment and you've been able to accumulate some savings, you can launch your business. That is one. The second source of finance to fund your business, it is from your family and friends. Family can support you to access, to start a business where they give you like a seed capital and they nurture you. Or maybe your parents or your siblings or people who are allowed you can give. That is also good, because now the obligation you have is towards your family members and the people you have given. You have to succeed. Now, the other area you can get finance is now from commercial lenders like ourselves. And that's where basically people say it is not easy to access finance. Because if you come to commercial lenders like ourselves, that is microfinance banks, commercial banks, and other money lenders in the marketplace, they will require that you prove you are credible in terms of money handling. So they will ask you about your credit worthiness. your creditworthiness will be determined with how much money have been going into your bank account.
Yeah.
So if you are requested for cash flow statement, which is because of your bank statement, people would want to see how much has been going in and out and how are you spending your money. Why we say the problem is access is not many people have a strong bank statement or cash flow indicators. If you're borrowing $1 million, you'll be required to prove that we have deposits sufficient to clear for, to pay for that facility. And that's why, again, others people say banks give those who have money. Right?
Yeah.
So there are many things that will be required when you go to commercial banks or even conventional borrowing. You will be asked for proper cash flow. So bring bank statements, minimum 6 months. You have to prove you have been in business for a minimum of 6 months, so they will not touch startups. And then they will ask you for security, and then you realize not many people have securities. The security most popular will be the logbook of a vehicle. It will be a title deed, or you are employed, such that they can be able to charge all from your salary and ask for a check-off.
Yeah.
But not many people are also on that.
Yeah.
Now, the alternative is you go to alternative financing, where you may find yourself entering into a relationship with the big-time players in the marketplace, where they can give you small credits. They can give you goods or services for 1 day, and then you pay at the end of the day. Sell on behalf. That's an initiative in the marketplace. But for SMEP Microfinance Bank, we have products that are targeting that category of customers who need alternative security. And this is what we call community banking. In community banking, we handle self-help groups and we handle chamas. These are members of the society that are ready to do business as a community, guaranteeing each other, working with one another, such that you'll come, you'll be trained for a number of weeks, 6 weeks, and within those 6 weeks, you will be required to make some savings, 100 shillings, 100 shillings, 100 shillings. At the end of the at the end of the training, you have been trained how to handle loans, facilities, how to be a good member of a group. You'll be advanced amounts of money from 20,000 upwards.
So that's what you call alternative?
It's alternative guarantee mechanism.
Okay.
Because now you cannot offer hard security. And then, so when you're given this money, you'll be able to do your business. You'll be meeting on weekly basis with your group members and your business development officer, who is an employee of SMEP Microfinance Bank.
Fair enough. Let's talk about after lending. This interest on loans, this is also a challenge that entrepreneurs face. They go for loans, but again, now repayment, servicing these loans is very expensive in Kenya.
I want to comment on this because, again, depends with the choice of where you get your financing. Generally, the pricing of the loan will also depend with where the financier is getting the money from, and also your risk profile. If you go to the commercial banks, your property is properly secured. Generally, they will charge you around 12%, 13%. If you come to microfinance institutions, banks like us, microfinance banks, generally the pricing will be around 20%. But that's about 1.5% per month. If you go to Chilocks or you go to money lenders, you pay anything between 10% and 30% per month. So it becomes very, very hard for you to service. The issues are, look for a credible financier like SMEP Microfinance Bank. Be willing as an entrepreneur to be open enough. Tell them what you are doing, what you want to do, the service that you are offering, and then be a member. If you cannot be able to stand on your own, be a member of a self-help group which can guarantee you. And then your interest rates will be within agreeable age. Secondly, be a good borrower because you're building a history. The problem is money diversion. You get 20,000
You divert it to do
you
something
divert
else.
it to do it, to do something else.
Yeah.
And I want to give you a good example that is happening in the marketplace. You are running a shop, very successful, even small mini market, supermarket within the estate. Your cash flow is good. You approach a lender like SMEP with a business proposal to expand your working capital such that you can serve more customers. And you'll be given 100,000, you're given $1 million or $2 million depending with the cash flow because you qualify. But immediately you get the money, instead of pumping in more stock, you go and buy a plot and start constructing because you want to maybe divest. The problem will be when you are building and constructing, one, if it is rental houses, they will not be finished by $1 million that you borrowed. But in the meantime, the loan is being repaid by the existing cash flow from a supermarket or mini market that was not empowered by addition of new capital. So what will happen? The business will continue going down in the mini market. You will not be able to meet the obligations of your suppliers. So you realize that the guy who sells you sugar is not supplying you because you have not paid him. Now sugar, posho, what we call unga, are the ones that pull the people to your shop. When they come, they miss sugar, they miss unga, they miss rice, they don't care what else you have.
You lose them.
You have sugar, you have bread, you have posho. When they buy those, when they're moving around, they will see chocolate. They will see juice. They will remember, even in my home, we don't have viceroy, something like that. They'll buy. So first is you have to ensure your cash flow is okay. So the issue is, and why people are not able to meet their loans is in terms of diversion. And then business management skills. Confusing business money with your own personal money. If you're an entrepreneur, in the evening you want to take a packet of unga home, please pay for it. Somebody visits you in your shop, and because you're good friends, you've given them a soda, please pay for it. Remove money from your pocket and put it there.
Sure. So simply said, distinguish friendship from business. I mean, that's a very cliche, so to speak, in the business world. Really quick, now, what are some of the opportunities that are there in the government and even the corporate world that entrepreneurs need to take advantage of?
Okay, the opportunities are coming. One of the things is that we need to look at how the government is mutating in terms of their policy. We have the Big Four agenda. There is agriculture, there is food security, there is education, there is housing, low-cost housing, all those. When government comes up with a plan like that, it means also resources are pushed towards that. So around the construction industry and that supply chain, it will move up. Around the food value chain, there is also a lot of opportunities, agribusiness. There is a lot of opportunities because that's the government focus. And so then of course, like now where we have tendering and the government is saying wants to support the youth, women and all that. People need to look at what is happening in the adverts in the newspapers and see what can they be able to do. Because the government also had made a policy there. But the other emerging, like now, we in the result of Corona, something happened, Corona came with its opportunities and challenges. So there is a lot of business that has been unlocked around that space of Corona and coming up with protective items, a lot of it. And then, most importantly, all of us have been thrown digital. So you can market your goods and services through digital. You can play around that space. Because now, this is where the world is. The issue is be keen on what is happening in your environment. County governments also coming up with their initiatives, coming up with stalls. In every town you go, there is a market store, market space that is being constructed. Be keen and track what is happening within your environment. And for sure, if you're an entrepreneur, you not track something.
open your eyes, so to speak. I mean, there's a lot that we can talk about, but time is not on our side. But I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for actually bringing this to shade people to understand the myths, misconceptions, and what you need to do for you to be a successful entrepreneur in the 21st century.
Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. That's what we had for you tonight. In studio, we've had Mr. Simon Kamore, the CEO of SMEP Microfinance Bank, and I believe that we will have some time again to come and talk about this. But I want to leave you with this very famous quote from Steve Jobs, who said that he believes and he is convinced that half of what makes a successful entrepreneur and distinguishes him from the unsuccessful one is pure perseverance. You need to persevere for you to become a successful entrepreneur in the 21st century. Thank you for being with us. This is Vincent Kerosi from Kazi. Enjoy your evening.